AITA for being upset that my boss didn't buy me Starbucks. I work at Target and today, when I went in for an early morning shift, the team lead who runs the front end of the store found out that a nearby drive-through Starbucks was open, and she went out of her way to drive there and pick up drinks for everyone working. For the first round of people, she didn't ask me what I wanted, but I didn't make a big deal out of it, since it was just the first round, and I was in the back room, so I assumed that she didn't see me. But then came more rounds of drinks and she seemed to be going around and asking everyone but me. She was asking other team members all around the store what kind of drink they wanted. And I knew that she had to have known I was there because she was using a grid, which is basically just a list of team members scheduled for the day. She even asked our security guy, who only comes in for 2 days a week. I was sitting in the break room when she brought in more drinks for people, and she didn't even bother asking me if I wanted anything or if she had already asked me. It really felt like she was ignoring me. Me and her have a bit of an iffy history as of late. Earlier this week, she pulled me off of the truck unload and had me spray and wipe down carts, which really pissed me off, since we already had disinfectant wipes for the guests to use at their disposal, and she had her own disposal of front-end team members who are actually trained in sanitation. I was in a bad mood whilst doing it, and I didn't hide it. And later in the day, she walked by me and said hi, but I just ignored her and walked away. Anyway, as I was clocking out today, she was bringing in another round of drinks and I walked by and sarcastically said to her, "Thanks for asking me if I wanted anything." She said, "Excuse me," and I just walked away. I'm honestly not pissed about the Starbucks specifically, but more so the blatant exclusion, since I've worked at Target for longer than 90% of the current employees and I'll loudly and proudly say that I'm one of the store's best workers. AITA here. NTA, it was absolutely rude of the manager to go out of her way to buy everyone but Op a drink. On top of that, it's an our issue, as Op is obviously being singled out. Edit, spelling. To the last line of your post, I'll say it loud and proud, I'm one of the best people here. Do you think that superior, better than everyone attitude comes across at work, and maybe this manager and others are picking up on it? If you're better than everyone, then you should know, if given a task, you do it without being passive aggressive and sulking about it. I don't care if you're Mr. Target himself and how good you are, you're replaceable just like everyone else. Especially with the current circumstances where hundreds of thousands are getting laid off with the shutdowns and people looking for work. Take your ego down a few notches and realize there is always room for growth and improving. If she didn't buy you coffee and you felt slighted, then the adult thing to do would have been to talk to her and ask her why she did what she's doing, but you chose to be passive aggressive about it and mope. If a manager is excluding an employee, then that is a form of harassment/bullying. Based on your information, she had 3 opportunities to ask if you wanted coffee. I sincerely hope it was a misunderstanding, but I'm going to take your other comments to mean that the two of you need to bury the hatchet. Being passive aggressive is childing and not helpful. Use your words, express your emotions, and communicate. People are capable of making mistakes and assuming the worst while stewing in anger helps no one. Edit. Lots of people are saying Op is not entitled to the Starbucks. Please look up manager/workplace ostracism and consider that what this manager is doing is actually wrong and can open Target up to a workplace discrimination lawsuit. AITA. What a gem you are. For attitude alone, you deserve a right P. Actions have consequences. I doubt that you would find one coworker that would agree that you are one of the best workers. I bet I could find a dozen coworkers that would describe you as a petulant child. AITA. It seems you started the passive aggressive behavior when you were assigned to a job you didn't like. She has turned retaliated in kind, it seems, which makes both of you assholes. Then, instead of just going up to her like an adult and saying, "Hey, would you mind picking me up a coffee as well?" you purposely chose to wait, stew about it, and then make another passive aggressive comment, furthering the tension between the two of you. This is not only an asshole move but a childish one as well, at your place of employment no less. I'd imagine manager was paying out of her own pocket and a mo can then pick and choose what to spend. If she's using store money, then I'd have an issue with it. But if personally buying, then I don't think to not buy for someone who is rude and passive aggressive to you asking them to do something at their job. It's still an a-hole move to single out one person on the team to not receive a reward. I get it, she doesn't have to buy everyone drinks, but passive aggressiveness is a pet peeve of mine, and it's a bit asshole-ish, whether it's deserved or not. AITA. She's your superior and owes you nothing, yet you act entitled to money from her own pocket. When you work in almost any setting, especially retail, you are a part of a team. Right now it is crucial to act like it. It is best if you learn what that means sooner than later, or you won't get much further in life. Holy crap. I'm surprised at everyone saying yeah. No wonder employee protection is virtually non-existent in the States, if everyone is so happy to accept passive-aggressive behavior from managers and leads. I would say purely cause the manager should have been a lot more mature and professional in dealing with a previous issue with staff. For one, singling someone out is just asking for a discrimination lawsuit at worst and a labor board complaint at the least, regardless of whose money it was. You guys don't think it reflects poorly when she buys everyone but Op a drink? Second, it sounds like she just suddenly pulled Op from one task to a completely different task without so much as a please and thank you. I wouldn't appreciate that either. Just because it's a job it doesn't mean people get to be treated like shit. If she was genuinely worried about the virus and hygiene standards, she wouldn't have done so, as it just increased cross-contamination. Even worse when Op says there are front-end staff who are already present and trained in sanitation, so why would she pull someone from a truck, unload to wipe down a couple carts? Now, the Op does have a slight attitude problem as well. It's possible they have a holier-than-thou mentality, but that still doesn't justify being treated poorly and then blatantly singled out, which other staff are gonna notice as well. AITA for joking about my daughter's stuffed animals? Throw away. Sorry if the formatting is odd. I'm on mobile. My 51 meters daughter L, 21F, is home from school right now. I'm happy to have her around, but there's an argument that I need judgment on. Elle has a very severe panic disorder and more often than not cannot sleep well. She is in therapy and on medication, and takes melatonin to help. However, she also sleeps with two stuffed animals, one from her grandfather that she's had forever, and a newer one from her friends. Elle will not sleep without them. I think this is ridiculous. Elle is an adult, and if anything's going to help her, it's her medication, not children's toys. One time she left one behind over Thanksgiving break and was extremely upset. I don't think her attachment to them is healthy. I brought up the idea of weaning Elle off of the toys to my wife, 49F, the other day, and she is adamant that Elle needs them and that it didn't matter as long as she was sleeping. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I think that the fact that Elle needs stuffed animals to sleep in the first place is what's broke. I've asked my brother and sister-in-law, who are similarly split. Sil thinks they're harmless. Brother thinks Elle needs to grow up. This is where I'm stuck. I walked through Elle's room a few nights ago and saw her on her bed watching something, holding one of the stuffed animals. I can't remember exactly what I said, but I made some joke about them disappearing. Elle knows I don't think she needs them and has not spoken to me since. She also told my wife what I'd said, and she made sure I knew that if those stuffed animals mysteriously vanished, that they'd be held to pay. AITA for being concerned. Edit. Formatting. Edit. Oh. Heard loud and clear, guys. I'm gonna go try to apologize to my kid. I guess I didn't see the toys so much as a coping mechanism, but a part of the problem. I'm always going to worry about her, but I was a little right, she is an adult. Thank you all for your honesty. AITA, stop being abusive towards your daughter about her mental illness. If these objects give her comfort and a sense of control, let her have them. During one of the most stressful and anxiety-driven times in the world for even the most stable of people, and you're criticizing your daughter for using coping mechanisms for helping her make it through? Yeah, you're definitely an asshole. I sleep with a little stuffed sheep just because I really like him, and my husband likes him too, and we have all kind of silly jokes about the sheep being one of our kids/family members. And also my husband, a fully functional adult man in his 30s with no mental illnesses, will borrow him to hug during horror films sometimes. He also has his childhood stuffed animal who he'll sometimes nap with when he's sick. Before we moved in together, he'd send me photos of his stuffed animals doing the ironing with cute little setups he created to make me laugh. Like, just let people enjoy things. Why can't we just let people enjoy things? Sometimes adults like comfort and cute things too. Jesus. You are not the asshole for not understanding or being concerned. Why WBTA if you got rid of them? Like it or not, they bring her comfort. Arguably, they are both sentimental keepsakes. It would be a dick move to take that from her. I have sleep paralysis, and more often than not having someone sleep in the same bed as me, my husband, helps prevent or minimize it. When my husband is not able to sleep in the same bed as me, he will put a stuffed animal in his place. He bought this giant stuffed shark, my favorite animal, for me, and it is one of my most cherished possessions. He didn't look down on me for taking comfort in something childish, but instead saw its use for me. Plus he thinks it's really cute how much I love it. I hope your daughter finds a partner, like I did, who will appreciate her and her stuffed animals, especially since they obviously help her and mean a lot to her. I'm going to go cuddle my great hubby shark now. Thanks for making me appreciate my stuffed shark even more, even if you didn't mean to. Oplol. AITA. Holy shit dude, I'm in my 30s and have a blanket from my childhood wrapped around a stuffed animal my fiance gave me that I usually sleep with. I have PTSD, but regardless of that, it reminds me of home and is comforting when I'm thousands of miles away from it. Do you also forbid cartoons, video games, amusement parks, carnivals? Are adults supposed to only do things that are considered adult after they hit 18, and engaging in anything that's even remotely considered childish automatically makes you less of a responsible adult or something? One thing I learned early: you cannot, under any circumstances, dictate to any other human being how they should best cope with whatever things in life they are coping with. How would you feel if someone told you how you should handle things in your own life, based on their opinions with zero disregard for your own feelings, or how you better process things? There's nothing wrong with giving someone who's struggling suggestions on coping mechanisms if they are struggling, if that person is open to suggestions and ideas, but forcing how you think anyone else should deal with something based on your own perceptions of what's right or wrong is insanely uncool, rude, and ignorant regardless of who the person is. And it's worse that it's your own daughter. Part of the problem with the world today is that no one stops and puts themselves in anyone else's shoes even for a moment and thinks about how they'd feel if the situation was reversed. AITA. Let me help you see why you are monster. Elle has medical condition and more often than suffers from that condition. She is in treatment and takes medicine to help. However, she also sleeps with something that addresses the medical condition and helps her. Elle will not forego the things that work for her. I think this is ridiculous. Elle is an adult, and if anything's going to help her, something she already has tried / is trying, not the thing that is known to help. Do you see it better now? You see it as toys / animals. It's not, it's treatment. You want to deny your daughter treatment because you think there is a better way, and better here is perception. Not better to treat the issue, not better cause it's causing harm. You want to deny your child relief for an utterly stupid reason. That makes you a monster / asshole. There's an old episode of The Cosby Show where Clary Huxtable hurt her foot and really needed a cane. She refused cause she did not want to use a cane. She thought it made her look old. Eventually, her Phil gives her a heirloom walking stick with some bullshit shit story. She was willing to use this, and at the end Cliff points out that it's just a cane. Bill Cosby was then, as we know him now, a monster asshole. AITA. I'm 29 in 2 months, and I still sleep with stuffed animals. I have autism and anxiety and they help a lot. I imagine that they help your daughter as well as a way to cope and calm down. I gotta know, like, honest question, why does it matter if she sleeps with stuffed animals or not? Does it physically hurt you? Are you being forced to sleep with them? Just let her do what she likes and let her be. AITA. They are not harming her and instead bringing her comfort. I'm 33F and still have stuffed animals from my childhood. Although I love my hubby, I have one bear that I want to snuggle with when I'm sick. It is a bear my mom bought for me when I was 16 after having my tonsils removed. I also still have the stuffed dog I was gifted as a baby. Even if she never outgrows them, it does not mean she won't be a wonderful, capable, productive member of society. AITA. My fiance and I are laying in bed right now, both of us with a stuffed animal. We both work at a prestigious government agency, do very well, and have no anxiety problems. But we both enjoy sleeping with the stuffed animals that are important to us. You are especially the asshole for sharing this extremely personal information with other members of your family. Your daughter is 21, and you shouldn't be violating her privacy by going into her room anyway. I'm very professional. I make great money, wear a ton of Taylor and Loft, and it's nobody's business how I sleep or what I sleep with, because my sleeping with a stuffed animal does not contribute to my ability to be a contributing member of society. Apologize to her and drop the issue completely. Stop discussing it with others. AITA for not writing a letter of recommendation for a student who never participates in class. One of my app English students approached me yesterday after class to ask if I would write her a letter of recommendation for a youth leadership program. This student is a strong writer and received an A in my class last semester, but she never participates in any of our class discussions. I can't recall her speaking up once since the school year started. Even when I have the students break into small groups of 3 or 4 to work on an assignment together, she doesn't contribute much to the conversation. My colleagues who have her in their classes have noted this behavior as well. She's clearly a very bright young woman, based on the work she turns in, but she's extremely quiet and doesn't actively participate in class. If the student had asked me to write her a recommendation for a writing workshop, I would happily do so, but as it stands, I can't provide a positive assessment of her leadership and interpersonal skills. I gently explained this to her and encouraged her to work on speaking up in class. My student was very upset when I declined and left the room in tears. I got an angry email from her mother this morning saying I was being unfair to her daughter and that her academic performance alone should have been enough to merit a recommendation. I haven't responded to the email yet. I feel really awful about the situation, but I'm not willing to submit a dishonest recommendation to the program. AITA. I was this student, painfully shy, perfectionist, terrified of rejection. It probably took a lot of guts to ask, and her worst fears were realized. I don't see why there's any reason you couldn't have written a letter highlighting her positive skill set. Could even indicate the program might be beneficial to help her develop new skills. You wouldn't have to lie. If her skills weren't what they are looking for you, they could deny her. The mother behaved poorly as well. Exactly this. AITA Opus. A youth leadership program sounds like something designed to help young people develop their leadership and interpret skills. If all the kids that get in already have those skills, then what's the point of it? AITA. Begrudging her an opportunity to work on her social skills and possibly public speaking because she's a quiet student is pretty selfish and unbecoming for a teacher. Maybe you should take a few leadership classes and workshops and learn about how to help introverted children feel more comfortable speaking in classroom settings. You could have easily written her a recommendation based all true positives about her, but because she doesn't fit into a mold you have constructed in your mind, you actively tried to deny her an opportunity for enrichment. You are a humongous jerk. There are so many different ways you could have handled this to coach her and give a recommendation for her. She obviously respected you and thought she had a bond with you, and you rejected her and shat on her hard work as a student just because she is quiet in class. If her shyness was such an important and life-altering issue, then you should have been actively engaging her in class or making vocal participation a requirement for some percentage of points on your grading scale. Things like this make kids hate school and learning. I'm so astounded at your willingness to impede her from developing leadership skills because she doesn't already have your idea of leadership skills. She's a child. There was no reason for you to not write her a letter. NTA. I believe that it's important to know the students you're writing letters for. If you were to just write a LOA for every student that asked for one, the point of the letters would be nil. Especially as an app English student, you're more than expected to contribute to the conversation of the class and lead by example as a good communicator. If you don't contribute to the class discussion, it doesn't leave much for the teacher to go off of in terms of how well they really understand the concept matter. NTA, you need more communication than that on multiple levels for leadership positions. You did the right thing. If I were you, I'd reply to the helicopter. Due to privacy restrictions, I'm unable to discuss this. Thank you. To the student, I'd give her another chance to speak. I'd send her an email and ask her if you would like to speak with me further about why you are a leader. I'm available is from XX, XX to XX, XX in my office. AITA, people have social issues and, rather than assisting her as someone in a position, you are shutting her down. It doesn't sound like she is lazy, merely shy and probably riddled with anxiety that is not dealt with like this. The fact she wants to do a leadership program means she wants to participate. Maybe have a think if there are any campus counseling or other places she can go to talk about it. To be honest, the parent is probably making this worse. Your student has 6 other teachers that she can have to write the LOR, so it's likely she will get one at some point. If she is hardworking in your class, chances are she is hardworking in others, and you missed out on a teachable moment. I'm an extrovert IRL, but in class I was quiet. I didn't speak up with class discussions because mostly I hate the structure of impromptu debate that usually my HS English class would devolve into. Oftentimes it is a forum for whoever is loudest or more convincing that wins. It can be difficult to articulate opinions on the spot that have any merit to the idea, where acknowledgement of competing views and understanding should be the focus. The skills required to lead are not the same as what is needed for class discussions. You should look to how she navigates a group assignment/project. Does she step up and direct the group? That is a better indicator of a leader, and it sounds as if you are punishing her for not having lawyer/politician skills. In the end, you pushed her away and missed out on a teachable moment where you could give her X time to make an impression on you, which would give evidence for your LOR, but instead you shut her out, which makes it a AITA times 10. You're basically penalizing a good student for having some form of social anxiety or something analogous. I'm guessing. Screw you for not understanding that kids might have issues just like adults. You shouldn't be a teacher if you're that judgmental. You have no idea if the student has any social anxiety issues. She can't provide any recommendation on leadership if she doesn't witness any leadership qualities. Helicopter parents drive me nuts. So mom was out of line, IMHO. But so were you. You could have done a couple of things differently. Firstly, you cold written a recommendation that focused on her academic performance and stated that you would love for her to have an opportunity to grow her leadership and verbal communication skills. Next, you cold sat her down and talked to her about why this was important to her. You cold asked what she hoped to get out of it. Those things could be incorporated into a letter. Lastly, if all of you notice this same behavior, have any of you coached her on it prior to now? Have you asked why she doesn't participate more? To me, being a good teacher isn't just about facts and form. It's also about guiding young people down a path to success based on their strengths and trying to help them identify and overcome weaknesses. A good teacher is also a coach. Thank you for watching. Stay safe and wash your hands. Like and subscribe for more videos.